Hello. We're often asked if there's a way to batch import records into CollectionsIndex from things like spreadsheets, and the answer is yes. CollectionsIndex Web Edition has a CSV importing tool where you can upload and import records from spreadsheets. But to do this, you'll need two things. You'll need a CSV template containing your data, and you'll need a map saved to your system, which helps guide the data from the CSV into the right fields in CollectionsIndex. So we're now looking at a CSV file. This is a spreadsheet that's been saved in CSV format. So you can see we have columns describing different fields in our data. And then we have each row which represents a record that we want to import. There's a couple of important things to mention when we're looking at these CSV files. So first of all, the map that's been created to take this data into CollectionsIndex has been set up around this exact format. So effectively, our CSV file has to honor the format of these columns. We can't be changing and adding new columns or taking columns away, and we can't be changing the function of these columns either. So once you have a template that's set for your CSV file, you need to make sure you stick to it, otherwise your imports won't work with the maps you have. Of course, if you do decide you need to change your template, we can just help you create new maps, so that's no problem. But if you're working to a specific map, you need to make sure you're using the matching template. Another thing to bear in mind is that some of the data in here, like name and location, these are going to be linked to terminology controlled fields in our system. So we need to have in the back of our minds, are these terms going to exist in our system already? And if they don't, we need to make a note to add those to our system so we're not going to get any validation errors once our data is imported. So do bear in mind that when you're making your spreadsheets, you need to try and match the various rules and terminologies that exist in your system in order for everything to run nice and smoothly. And one key thing to remember is that you must save your spreadsheet as a CSV file, not your standard spreadsheet format, otherwise the import won't work. But we've already got ours saved to CSV, so let's go ahead and import this data. So once your spreadsheet is ready and you've saved it as a CSV file, you're going to want to head over to your CollectionsIndex system. Now, you'll only see an option to import data if you have the relevant maps installed. So just for an example, if I go to the archive records, you can see we don't have an import option here because we don't have any maps saved in our system for importing archive records. However, if I click on objects, you can see because I've added a map to the system, which is for importing object records, we've now got an import data option. If I click on that, we have this CSV import window that pops up. I can select a map from our system. We've only got the one here, which is our example import for this tutorial. And then we need to pick the CSV file that matches the map. And here's the example we looked at a moment ago. So once you've selected your map and CSV, and remember it's really important that your CSV file, the spreadsheet that you've saved, matches the map. Otherwise the import won't work. Let's hit import and see what happens. So we've now got a little dialog box here. It's given us a little log just to record what's happened. We've got 11 records loaded successfully and no records failed to load, which is a great result. And if there are any other validation errors, we'd also see a list here that we could always copy and paste if something had gone wrong with our import. But luckily on this occasion, we have no issues. And I've run a quick search now and I've found the 11 objects that we've imported. We can see some of their information here in the search summary. And if I just open one up and have a look, we can see we've got all that number data that's gone into the right fields here alongside the name and location. And that production date column as well, those terms have gone in and the system has automatically turned those, as it does, into a beginning and end date for the Neolithic in this case. So there you have it. Once you have maps set up on your system and a spreadsheet template, you can use that as many times as you want to import new records. It's worth remembering, this doesn't have to be for object records. You can set up maps for objects, archives, different authorities, terms, whatever it might be. To find out more about getting maps on your system, please do get in touch. We can design maps based on your specifications to install on your system. Alternatively, we can offer tools and training for you to create your own maps.